Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the final part of episode 3, Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. I do apologize if I'm on late. It's just been, again, like I said, it's been a very, very crazy week. Hopefully tomorrow things will be better. I will go on as my scheduled regular time. We're going to pick up from the previous episode that should already be uploaded by now. We're going to pick up with the MLB, as this is just like a Tuesday video. As of today, which is Friday, it's day 85, but Tuesday was day 82 of the strike. There really has been small increments, but no progress. They have until the talks have been extended till today, and then by Monday, if there's no agreement by Friday, we're going to have the first week of the season canceled. So the 28th is the deadline to set to get a deal done, and hopefully before March 31st. So again, these players, me personally, I understand what the players want. I think now the players know the last few times they've left a lot of money on the table for players. The collective bargaining agreement, they've messed up at least past couple of times. I think they're trying to make it up. Now, I do think that the players, both sides, need to really come up with something, period. I'm a proponent that needs to be a salary cap. I want to see the minimum salary for minor league baseball players go increase. I definitely want the young guys to taste free agency earlier, not be held to a team, I'd say no more than 4 years. I do think that I do think free agency needs to be a bit more needs to be more fair, because like when I see someone like a Juan Soto decline a 13-year deal, it's either he wants more money or he wants to play for a bigger market, and that bothers me. And I don't understand. It hurts for teams, again, like Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, because they're small to mid-sized markets, and no one's going to play for them. So you have no choice but to tank and try to build from the ground up from the minors, and give them 3-4 years to be the competitive. You have no choice. If I can't get a Carlos Correa or Freddie Freeman to come play for my team, okay, how is Lee going to help me with that? These players aren't making it any easier. But I both sides have addressed what they want. It's just a matter of time. There's an agreement. Me personally, I do not see an agreement by Monday, February 28th.
Guaranteed.
I just don't. So I could be wrong. I think that there will be something in the works, but I doubt it. So the clock is ticking. So let's transition into our next topic, unsung African American heroes in sports, where I highlight a player, coach, anyone that's had an impact on sports, where they may not get the media recognition or their stories the same thing. They don't get the recognition that some in the media have gotten. Because again, media spins, dictates, and push who they feel like they can push their agenda. So I'm going to focus on, in this episode, John Thompson. John Thompson, former college basketball coach. He was the first African-American coach to win national championship. You all know he coached at the great college of Georgetown University from 1972 to 1999. He also coached at St. Anthony High School. And also, he played for the Boston Celtics. He was drafted in the 3rd round, 26th picked overall. I mean, with this, I could go on his resume. You know, he's inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame, Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame. He did play for Providence. He got an honorable mention as All-American. He only played 2 seasons, and in those 2 seasons, he won a championship with none other than the great Bill Russell. Also, 6-time Big East Conference Tournament champion, 5-time Big East Conference regular season champion, 2-time ECAC Tournament Southern Region champion, Coach of the Year in 1985, Big East Coach of the Year 3 times, 1980, 1987, 1992. Man, just his resume is just it's crazy. I mean, he's got to coach so many great players: Patrick Ewing, Allen Iverson, Alonzo Mourning, Akeem Olajuwon, Dikembe Mutombo. No, not Akeem. He went to Georgetown? No, he went to Houston. I'm sorry, not Akeem. I'm thinking of Dikembe. I'm sorry. AI. Alonzo Mourning. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm sorry. Akeem went to Houston. Oh man, there's so many others that played for him. You know, it's real interesting. There's a story. My dad told me about this. It was like in the sometimes around the mid '80s. There were several players. I think one of them may have been Alonzo Mourning. I could be wrong about this. And that there was this guy that was really known of like a drug lord, whatever you want to call him, at the time. And I think, he would give, he was really kind of got close and really friendly with the players. And coach found out about that and let him know, like, check this out. These are my players, X, Y, and Z. Now, he did clear up. It was something in the autobiography that there was no confrontation. It was just more one of those like, hey, these are my boys. I'm not going to let them, let you get them in any trouble. And I think that, he wasn't going to allow drugs or bad influences take over, his players' lives. And that was kind of one of more of those like father-like moments. That was just a real interesting story. So, and it was also said after that, I think his name was Rayful Edmonds III, or something like that. I believe was his name. Ever since then, never went near a Georgetown Hoya. He's also coached. He was assistant coach of the national team. I think it was like the 1976 Olympic team, and he was also the head coach of the '88 team. So, just an amazing coach. He's done so much for the game of college basketball. When he won the national championship, they asked him, how does it feel to be, the first African American? And then his response was, no, I'm the first coach from, because he's from New England, I want to say it was, to win a national championship. So we all know him for wearing the white towel over his shoulder, because that was a tribute for his mother. I know he passed away 2020 August, so he was supposed to be. He was 70. I think he died 3 days before his birthday. So, rest in peace, Coach. But wow, he finished his coaching career, 596 wins, 239 losses. in the conference, Big East, 196, 110. Just just an amazing coach. You know, I think his son, John Thompson III, I believe is still coaching. I think he's an assistant coach. I believe so. I think he was with Denver at one point. Let me really check that real quick. I know he was a head coach at Georgetown. He also did Princeton. I think he's also doing something. I think he might have done something with the Wizards at one point. So I don't. I feel like his son's doing something. I think it may be with Team USA. I can't remember. But that's who I wanted to touch on was the great John Thompson. May he rest in peace. Y'all let me know what y'all think about John Thompson. What do you think of this segment so far? Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's transition to the NBA. The NBA has started up as of yesterday. We had the Celtics versus the Brooklyn Nets. Celtics won. And then we had the Portland Trail Blazers get demolished by the Golden State Warriors. The Washington Wizards, they start their first game since the All-Star break. We play those Spurs tonight. It's Friday. And got 24 games left. I'm scared what the second half's going to look like for this team, I'll be honest. Bradley Beal's still not going to – he's out for the season. Porzingis is day-to-day. And the only person for the Spurs I think was injured, I think, is Trez Jones, something like that. I mean, I'm hoping that this All-Star break, we got the chemistry. We at least had some time to work out the kinks with the chemistry. I'm also hoping that, we took this time, guys, kind of doing some self-reflecting and getting it together. I mean, the last 10 games for the Wizards were 4-8, while the Spurs are exactly 500. I thought the big win coming off Brooklyn was big for us. And that game, I believe, when we played Brooklyn, I think we had seven guys that were in double figures, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember that correctly. Kyle Kuzma, KCP, they're going to have to be the guys that they're going to lead this team if they're going to get to the play-ins. I'm looking for the bench to step up too. Like, I'm looking for the momentum starting here. I don't know where KP's really at. From what I've read, he could be a little longer than what is expected. So I'm hoping that this is not a slap in the face of what we got in return for Dinwiddie and Bertans. And then on top of that, like I already said, we got 24 games left. So Washington, they've made it clear they're not going to tank. They're going to try to get for a play-in game. If you remember last time we played those Spurs, we got our ass kicked. We think the score was like 116-99. That's before they traded Derek White to Boston. I think Thaddeus Young was still with the Spurs at that point. So on paper, we should beat the Spurs. Okay. I'm looking for our bench to have a big game. Because, again, that game against Brooklyn, we had 65 points as a bench. So that was good production. This is going to be Bertan's first game back. I mean, we're going to see him in the Spurs uniform, so I kind of can see how he's going to look off if he's going to go off against us. I definitely think the biggest key is, again, it starts with our defense, making shots, and not getting in a hole so quickly, because we've had a tendency this whole damn season to be doing that. And I don't know if it says more about the system, or we just have guys that just don't fit the system. So I'm confident with the Wizards. Like when I look at the standings as of, hold on, let's look at the standings real quick. I'm not. I still think they can get to the play-ins. I mean, they're one game behind Atlanta for the 10th seed. I mean, if the playoffs started today, Washington wouldn't make it. It's actually kind of sad to kind of see that when you look at the Eastern Conference, 1 through 8 is all decided. First place is decided by 8 games. Like, that's compared to the West, where the Los Angeles Clippers, they're 20 games out of first place. That lets you just really know how, honestly, truthfully, I wouldn't say how tough the East is, how really, these games, I mean, in the East, I thought somebody would have broke away by now, but we've had injuries. But I know Chicago, Miami, Philly. Kind of curious how they're going to look now without Ben Simmons, Andre Drummond, and Seth Curry. Brooklyn, the way New York is, they may Kyrie could play home games. I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to work out. KD, Ben Simmons. I believe the Celtics will. I'm not sleeping on the Celtics. I think I don't know what this notion is that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can't play together. I think they complement each other well. I think it's like when you're making a recipe and you say, well, if I put this ingredient in here or that ingredient, it just messes up the texture and the taste. I think now, I think the trades, I think everybody's now, I think Boston's going to be better. I'm disappointed actually in Atlanta. I thought Atlanta I actually had Atlanta going into the season as top 8, top 7, and to see where they're at. Like the Raptors, Cleveland, they surprised me. Milwaukee, with the injuries, it kind of starting to come back healthy. I like the Serge Ibaka pickup from Milwaukee. Goran Dragic, he's going to Brooklyn. So I'm kind of curious to see what the East is going to look like. But I'm going to say the Washington Wizards beat the Boston Celtics. The San Antonio Spurs 103-95. Guaranteed. And then my second half predictions, I still think I look at their schedule. They're 23rd offense, and then they're everything like an offensive rating, a defensive rating. They're in the top 25. They're like 21st. And then like the rest, how their schedule looks, it's so. I think they can win out. I mean, the only thing that kills me is their turnovers. I think they were like in the top 15 turnovers. Field goal percentage like down like in the top 25. I think it's like 22nd or 23rd. I mean, it just really just hasn't really been a good season. If they make the playoffs, I think they can sneak in there. I'm going to say the Washington Wizards will win 38 games. Guaranteed. I something tells me no. I can see the Washington Wizards getting in the play-in and then getting embarrassed like we did against Philadelphia. So I can see the Washington Wizards making the playoffs.
Guaranteed.
Let's transition to news around the NBA. The New York Knicks and Kemba Walker, pretty much that he's going to be sidelined the rest of the year. It just didn't work in New York. I was disappointed, actually. When I look at Kemba and I think Coach Tibbs' style of play, Tibbs is a defensive-minded coach, where Kemba's more of an offensive guard. At first, I thought it would have worked, but when I looked more at it, like especially, I watched some highlights of Knicks games, and I looked at it, I said, no, he just doesn't fit that system. Just the Knicks, just honestly, truthfully, they're another disappointing team. Most improved player, Julius Randle. I think I don't know what that's all about. His relationship with the Knicks at this point. I guess you try to see what you can get. You can get Zion. Who knows? CJ McCollum and Zion Williams. I wanted to address that. What was said at first that when CJ was traded to New Orleans, Zion did not reach out to him, and JJ Redick on First Take kind of went at Zion and said, like, hey, like I was in New Orleans, and because he did play for the Pelicans. And he said Zion is a guy like he's a jerk. Let me just paraphrase it like that. And I do think Zion does not want to be in New Orleans. I definitely feel like they have tried everything in their power to cater to his needs, and I don't think his camp wants him there. I think his camp wants him out. I think he wants him to go play in New York. I think he just has so much talent, and then you're hearing reports that he and David Griffin are kind of butting heads, and it's just crazy to me that a guy that has superstar talent is doing the things that he's doing. That's crazy to me. Because me personally, if I'm Zion, or if I'm right on that, not Zion, I don't know what to really do with him at this point. Because I don't understand you saying from lack of trust where? They're putting resources into, they had him going out to Portland to condition, and they see potential in him being a centerpiece for the franchise. And then when you're hearing that, he's had another, like he's still not ready to come back. And like, I don't know. I think my personal opinion, I think the Zion Williamson era in New Orleans, it's done. I think he wants to. I think they all kind of have it set up for him to go to New York. That's just me. And also to Calais LeVert, he's going to be out for another 2 weeks. He's still nursing. I think it's a calf injury. I think no, it's a right foot injury. I'm sorry. I think it's right foot injury. Yes. So I don't know. That's crazy. Really crazy to me. So I'm kind of going to really pay attention to see what this NBA offseason is going to look like. I really am. Let's transition to Maryland basketball. This will be the last game for the ladies. We play Indiana. The men beat Penn State, but we lost to Indiana. So I'll recap those games. And then and Friday, I'll get to that. So I'll hold off on that. So let's just get into it. Maryland men, after the loss against Indiana, have 3 games left. So we beat Penn State. Good win. Much need to win. We're 5. We were up until this game against Indiana. We were 5-11, in the conference. We beat Penn State, the Nittany Lions, 67-61. The offense, it looked a little better. It looked really, if you ask me, balanced from what I've seen practically the whole year. Eric Gallo is still coming off the bench. I look again going against a team like Penn State. Their pace of offense is not up tempo, and it's like Maryland was pulling everything out of its bag to win this game. It definitely felt like that. Eric Ayala, I'm going back to him. He looked still nursing a wrist injury, looked pretty good. Had 13 points. I think him coming off the bench going forward, and for the rest of the season, I think is the smart move in my opinion. He's even like one thing I noticed if he's not in my scouting report, I'm still keeping my eye on him because his presence on the floor and his ability to shoot the three, you can't sneeze at that. And I didn't know with his wrist injury. I didn't even know he had a wrist injury until he didn't play. Was it against Nebraska? He didn't play against Nebraska. It was one of those. It was a couple weeks ago. I can't remember who we played. I was like, he had a wrist injury. Like, when did he get it? So, I definitely think Eric Ayala coming off the bench going these next 3 games, I think would be good for Maryland. At this point, I just think we're just playing for seed. Up until Penn State, we're just playing for seeding. Like, with the Big Ten tournament, like you've got the 11th seed playing, the 14th seed, and the 13th seed, and the 12th seed playing, and then the 10th seed, and then all of them go to the next round. So up until that game, Maryland was 12th. Yes. So I tied for 11th place with Northwestern, and then we lost Indiana. That sucks. So they're Penn State. I think they're still 10th. Let me check that. Yeah, Penn State's still there. Yeah, they're 11 and 13 and 6 and 10 in the conference. We're 5 and 12. Kind of lost Indiana. So that really sucks. Just other than that, like, it was a good win against Penn State, but at the same time, we're just playing for just seeding. And then we painfully lost to Indiana. Did not see that. I knew we were going to get swept. The final score was 74-67.
Relationship with your children.
My God.
Like, I still feel like Eric Allen should come off the bench, but he started in this game. I guess putting him in the starting lineup would have given Maryland a boost on the offensive side of the ball, because he didn't play. I'm really trying to think. I want to say it was Purdue that he didn't play. And then, he did all right. Against Nebraska and Penn State. He played – okay, it was Purdue. He did play against Nebraska and Penn State. So, he did have minutes in those games, but he didn't contribute that much. I feel like I don't know. I feel like Eric should just still come off the bench. That's just me. As far as our paint presence, the Hoosiers went to town on us. 30, just really quick, 30 of their first half points. They all came from rebounds. Just no answers whatsoever. I mean, getting out rebounded, I think it was like 17 to 15, and then on top of that, like 44 of their points came on layups and dunks. Like it was like 12 dunks, 7, like 12 layups, 7 dunks, something like that. Like that's, you know what? Where's my clip? Hold on.
So when are we gonna say something about it? You know what? I'm gonna walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble. Because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
And also, too, I kind of wanted to point this out. Like, Maryland only had 24 points in the paint. Matt also, too, and I wrote this statistic down. I couldn't believe this. I did the math. Maryland missed 41% of their layups.
What the hell was that? I'm pissed off. Get it together. Y'all look like trash.
No answers whatsoever. They couldn't do anything in the paint. We just simply got our ass kicked. Like, that's another thing that's pretty much been the entire struggle the whole season. Is just our interior defense. I think it really starts with our defense. If we're playing that well, it starts with the defense. And again, no answers. Just disappointing. I mean, yes, we were down 10. I mean, we tried to keep it close, but at the end of the day, like Indiana, they shut the door on us. You know, like when you're not having a good game interior-wise offensively, and you can't get things going, particularly again when you're missing 41% of your layups and you're getting out rebounded, like the numbers showed. Indiana was a better team. Like, the last I think we had the last bucket, and Xavier Green missed that shot. I mean, that's Russell, Dante Scott. All three of them played well, but that's not going to. I mean, us getting out rebound, out beaten like that. We got 3 more games. We got who we got? We got Ohio State, Minnesota, and then Michigan. I'm going to be honest. The Maryland Terrapins are most likely going to win 2 out of those 3 games. Guaranteed. They're not going to beat Ohio State. That's just not happening. They can beat Minnesota, and I do think they'll get their revenge against Michigan. So I'll be so glad I kind of want to see what the teams will look like next year. I do. Let's transition to the women. This is their last regular season game. After a heartbreaking loss Sunday against the number 6 ranked Michigan.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
That was our first loss since losing to ranked 7th at the time was ranked number 17 to Ohio State. With 3-6 against ranked teams. Those losses also include the number 1, 2, 3 ranked schools in this order: South Carolina, Stanford, NC State, South Carolina, Indiana, and Michigan. Now, twice.
So when are we gonna say something about it? You know what? I'm gonna walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble. Because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
Okay, Last time we saw Indiana, we lost 70-63. Okay. We just turned the ball over one too many times. The turnovers were the biggest issue. I mean, we've made them turn the ball over 19 times. I think they only took like less than 15 threes. We did get our rebound in the paint. Again, it was a poor shooting performance cohesively. We shot under 40% from the field and almost under 30% from three. That pretty much was the key statistic that stood out the most. Angel Reese in that game had a double-double, if I remember that correctly. Diamond Miller had 17 and I think actually added like a 10-piece. So, like, this is what's going to end up happening, okay? This is just how I feel. So, as of right now, okay, I wrote this down. So, the Big Ten standing, as it currently stands, you've got Michigan versus Michigan State, and then Ohio State versus Penn State, Maryland versus Indiana, Iowa. Oh, sorry. I'm going to take it. So Michigan's got Michigan State and then Iowa away. Ohio State has Penn State and then Michigan State. This is our last game, obviously. And we got Iowa plays Rutgers in Michigan, and then that's how it is. So the unfortunate part is that we're going to really need some help, because everyone. I see Iowa. I see the Caitlin Clark cheat switch going in Maryland's favor. Guaranteed. Because I believe Iowa's going to beat Rutgers, and I think Iowa's going to surprise Michigan. Because this is all for seeding purposes, in my personal opinion. If it's a big if that happens, we got to win this game, okay? I just feel like we're going to get the help we need, because I mean, we're third place in our seeding, really quick. So I'm not panicking, but it just helps with the seeding purposes, because I don't want to face. I want to face Ohio State if possible, but that's okay. We can take Caitlin Clark, but that's okay. Because other than that, I mean, after that, the Big Ten is really after. I mean, Northwestern, Michigan State, Purdue all have less than 10 wins. So, and then another thing is, I'm looking for just another slap in the face. One of my candidates for All-American, Angel Reese, who did not have the greatest game against Michigan, the foul trouble. Can we calm down on the fouls? I mean, we got out rebounded. It was like 40. I mean, it was bad. We got dubbed on the board on the rebounds. And I've also noticed when Angel's not out there, or she's in foul trouble, the team looks different, and that's where I'm kind of concerned. There's no identity going in with Maryland. I mean, other than they're a good rebounding team, but their half-court offense, there is none. And I think that's what's going to hurt them. Now, they're probably one of the best. We're probably one of the best defensive teams. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, Indiana, I saw them play Iowa. They got a good offense. Now, going up against ranked teams, Maryland's defense is not the greatest. And if you told me coming into Sunday's game against Michigan, everything was starting to pick back up, and then it just kind of just fell on its face on the floor, fell on the floor like cracking eggs. So I'm hoping that after that atrocious performance, that the defense gets it together. I really, really do. Regardless of I got to give Brenda Freese her props. I mean, the injuries that she's had throughout the year, they've persevered. And this team, throughout any adversity, I feel like has been disrespected. Because, unfortunately, NC State losing to South Carolina, I get it. But I don't think people are taking into account we didn't have a full healthy squad in those games, particularly that early part of the season. So I'm going to say the Lady Terps beat Indiana in their final regular season game 85-79.
Guaranteed.
My announcement really quick. So in episode 4, I will go over my announcement for March Madness, what I plan on doing with that. Looking at who's going to be probably left out, who's going to be in there. So be on the lookout for that March Madness. So really quick, let's get into Towson Basketball really quick. Let me just see. I think Towson's playing. They play James Madison. The men do. And then we got the women. So the men going into today, they got 4 games left. Oh, the women, I'm sorry. The women got 4 games left. They play Hofstra. That is a win. I'm going to say the Lady Tigers get their win, beat the Hofstra 84-56.
Guaranteed.
Now, going into that game, the Lady Tigers are 20-5, 11-3 in the conference. We're a better home team. We're 11-1. On the road, we're 7-4. So after that, we've got Northeastern, Delaware, and then Drexel. Now the men, we got 2 games left. We beat Charleston, final score 80-77. We played James Madison Wednesday. We beat them 84-65. We played James Madison again. That's another on the road. And then we got Delaware. So Delaware, we're picking up that game from the 27th of January. So because that game was suspended. And then we got the CAA tournament from the 5th to the 8th. I'm going to say that the men are going to win 88-61.
Guaranteed.
And then for the women, I believe the tournament starts for them March 10th to the 13th. So go Tigers. I could really see both of them getting in there for March Madness. I could definitely see that. Let's transition to the WNBA because there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about, and then we're going to close it off with Athletes Unlimited. I wanted to talk about, there was an article read by Khristina Williams on Tianna Hawkins. I'm going to save that for the next episode. So I'm sitting back and I'm watching Athletes Unlimited. I'm having, and it's been a great, been a breath of fresh air watching something new, innovative, and it has kept my eyes glued to the TV. And I'm happy that we're seeing for example, Kalani Brown with the Las Vegas Aces, Mimi Jackson with the Mystics. I'm happy that women that were in the AAU getting opportunities to be back in the league. There's a lot of talent, and I've been on the record last year. There was a lot of talent last year that were not getting looks. And there's a couple of players that I'm surprised that still have not gotten contract offers. I'm surprised Odyssey Sims has not gotten a contract offer, and I'm surprised Lexi Brown. Lexi Brown's a restricted free agent. Chicago offered her the qualifying offer, and she didn't accept it. Now, for what I understand, she fired her agent. I'm not going to go along this notion that she burns bridges. Her situation is not unique. Lexi Brown is a good player. I believe she will get a contract offer with a team. But the one thing, and it goes back to that. I feel like the CBA, and I think it's just the way the league is. There has to be some roster expansion. I just don't think you can. And I get this whole you're not going to play all 12 or 15 players. I get that, but I'm starting to really kind of question, like, okay, here's someone that's a champion who's playing really well. You mean to tell me nobody's interested in Lexi Brown? That doesn't make any sense to me. Odyssey Sims too. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm surprised the Atlanta Dream have not offered Lexi a contract. I'm surprised. All the cap that they have, nothing. Because this is the same thing that happened with Minnesota after she had the concussion. Because before she had suffered the concussion in the bubble, Lexi was playing pretty damn well. This is just how Nathan feels. This is just Nathan. This is nothing against her. I feel like I understand she's frustrated, but I don't think going, and you can go look on her Twitter. I don't think voicing your frustration through tweets is going to solve the issue. Like we understand what the issue is. It's the league. There needs to be expansion with the rosters. And there's a lot of talent that deserves opportunities, and they're not getting it. I understand that, and I mean, you're seeing that with AAU that opportunities are given. I'm just trying to figure out what is it that you got 12 teams and not one of them goes, oh, it's not Lexi Brown. The Washington Mystics could sign her. Could have. Dallas, they kind of have what they need. The Sparks, they have what they need with Taya Cooper. Connecticut, they're pretty much solid. Seattle wouldn't hurt. Minnesota, they're kind of cap strapped. Somebody may have to go. Washington, I think, would have been a good choice but Coach T, his vision of what the team, how a team should be constructed is different from mine, and that's totally fine. Atlanta, I mean, I just feel I really hate, because I mean, she's a good player, and I don't agree with this notion I don't know where this narrative came from. That is she not interested in playing basketball? That's total BS. I mean, the girl. I mean, if you've not been watching her at AU, and yes, I mean we can talk about it. I mean, I personally think it was the system in Chicago. We say what we want. Well, she let Dana Evans take her spot. I mean, we can say what we want, but I've seen what Lexi Brown can do when she was in Minnesota. Hell, I've seen what she can do at AAU. She can play the point, the 2 and 3. She's just not just a shooter. Her on-ball defense is immaculate. And she could definitely bring something to a team. It just makes absolutely no sense that we're having talent like that. And it kind of goes back to the same thing with Kaiser when she got drafted, when she got waived by Indiana. Unfortunately, business is a business, and you know you're going to make some hard decisions. You know you can't sign everybody. Hell, if I signed 100 players if I had a WNBA team want to sign 100 players, hell, I would do it. But that's just unfortunately, it's just not how the world works. And I definitely, I'm praying that she gets an opportunity and she deserves it. I mean, because I don't know what these 12 teams are seeing that we're not, and I don't know if there's like pictures or there's I don't know, and I think it's absolutely BS. So I believe Lexi Brown will be back in the WNBA. I do, and I do. So I want to turn to this will be my last topic, second to last topic. Did Chris Paul deserve the Kobe and Gigi Bryant WNBA Advocacy Award? I have a question. Well, I have some questions. I'm going to start off like this for the WNBA. Like, one, who is your target audience? Number two, what is your end game here? Because as a fan, I'm starting to lose focus and not lose focus. I'm starting to now question what, as a league, what you guys are doing. It's almost kind of going back to my little analogy when you're trying to when you have a recipe and you're just throwing any old thing in the crock pot or in the stove and hoping it tastes good. Well, that ingredient didn't work. That ingredient worked, so I'm going to try this. That's what the WNBA is doing. I definitely think this was a slap in the face. I think this was another, excuse my language, another fuck up by the W. I personally believe that. Number one, to have that award presented at an NBA All-Star game, that's a slap in the face. I definitely think there should have been a process of how to get the award. It's almost kind of like a service learning project, or, well, hey Chris, thank you for wearing the hoodie. Thank you for getting buying tickets first come first serve for supporting the Phoenix Mercury and different things like that. And that's what it looked like to me. When you've got others that bust their ass day in and day out, and they don't get that kind of recognition that Chris Paul got. Now, this is not a slight on Chris Paul, but this is the same guy, okay, that was president for the Players Association, where you had the current WNBA players, president of the WNBA Players Association, Nneka Ogwumike, calling her on Twitter and saying, "Yo, this dude is ignoring my phone calls and text messages." So this is during the whole, with the whole social injustice when we had, George Floyd's death, Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake, and so forth. Now that really lets me know that, well, okay, you were not on the same page with your sister league as the Big Brother League. You should be doing everything in your power to helping your sister league grow. And it's almost kind of like these guys are kind of like, well, if I just throw in the hoodie, I'm supporting it. And that's where it goes back to the W. It's like, what is your end game here? Because, I mean, I'll be honest. I remember after Kobe had passed away, and, Gayle King with that interview that she did, which I thought was completely out of bounds, bringing up the man's past. Lisa admitted, like, I didn't even know her. I didn't even know her and Kobe Bryant knew each other. Didn't know that. Like, I understand that this is the world that we live in. It's a male-dominated sports league. I get that, but support is not just putting on a hoodie and attending a game. I mean, that's great, but come up with ideas and ideas to help the league grow. That matters to me. Like, is that, like, let me say it like this. What the NBA did for its 75 greatest players is what the WNBA should did for its 25 greatest players. They had the whole practically Hollywood, like, red carpet introduction to every player. And then at halftime, we got less. We don't even have the full group of ladies there. And it looked like it's a halftime photo. What is that? Like, that in of itself, that was embarrassing. And then when we presented Diana Taurasi with the GOAT ball, how much money did you have put into that? Like I really feel like we gotta stop here. We gotta stop with the excuses of, well, we just don't have the money in our budget to really promote or do what we want to do with the WNBA.
Bullshit.
We really have to stop that. Like, it makes absolutely no sense that, especially for if you're saying, here are my 25 greatest players, and you just come out and do a halftime show, like at halftime, we'll just stand at half court and take a photo. Damn, this is what my league really thinks of me? Like, I don't get no introduction. I don't get this. I don't get that. Like, what the fuck? And also too, like, for me personally, I can't look at guys like Chris Paul, LeBron, to look at the WNBA saying, okay, X, Y, and Z. Like, when Drake had a photo with Liz Cambage, do you think Drake actually cares about the WNBA? No, because that was all just headlines. I mean, come on now. Let's keep it real. Not a shot at Drake, but no. So I really think that there's lots of ideas that the NBA could really give the WNBA in helping it grow. You've got a lot of brother-sister teams, the Mystics and the Wizards, the Phoenix Mercury and the Sun, the Sparks and the Lakers, the Atlanta Hawks and Atlanta Dream, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lynx, the Pacers and the Fever, the Knicks and the Liberty. There's a lot of opportunities where you can help and market the league to grow. And it's just like, oh, nah, we can't do that. It's just an excuse. It's just excuses. And it just, and now I'm not surprised. I'm not actually not surprised at all. Where you're seeing players that were in the league starting to speak out. Like it's starting to get ridiculous. And I really hope that I do believe that there is change. I do see the league getting better, but the league has to stop pulling ideas out the hat and going, let's do this one. Don't work. The same thing. Let's try this one. Don't work. Like they, and I mean, it's not just me. I've heard others say it. I mean, numerous people have said this is what you could do, and it just seems like it goes in one ear, it goes out the other. So, I mean, look, I'm a fan of the WNBA. I'm going to continue to support the Mystics and these other teams in any way that I can. While watching the games, etc. Kill these narratives, but the league, because that's the elephant in the room that really the players know, but the league itself. Now, the elephant in the room is what is your end game and who's your target audience? Because we're going to now year 26, and these that right there, this award, that lets me know like not a lot of brain cells. That's just how I feel. Like, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. Congratulations to him, but he did it at an NBA All-Star game. Why could you not do that at a WNBA All-Star game? Why? What's the process? You know what I mean? Like, let me just end it off with this. Athletes Unlimited. We got 4 more games. Team Brown versus Team Cloud, and then Team Harrison versus Team Hawkins. Team Brown versus Team Cloud comes on Fox Sports 2 at 7 p.m. And then Team Harrison versus Team Hawkins comes on at 9:30. I'm going to say Team Cloud beats Team Brown. I'm going to say 94-88.
Guaranteed.
And I'm going to say Team Hawkins surprises Team Harrison. I'm going to say 93-83.
Guaranteed.
And then the next 2 games, I'll go ahead and predict those in episode 4. So that is going to conclude episode 3. I do apologize. It was all in parts. Like I said, it's just been a crazy, crazy week. I do apologize. Tomorrow's Friday. So this weekend, I'm going to take the opportunity to get some rest and mentally cleanse from social media for a couple of days. In closing, I wanted to send my thoughts and prayers to those in Ukraine. I hate war. I do. War never solves anything. I'm somebody that's recently gotten to the power of prayer and believes that God works. We just got to put our faith and trust in Him. It's crazy. It's sad because as a global community, what we've been through these last couple of years, this is the last thing that we need, and I'm really hoping that it all cease. I really do. So I'm sending my thoughts and prayers to those in Ukraine, and also too, we got some WNBA players that are overseas. A couple of girls in Russia. I think John Quill's in Russia. Enrique's in Russia. Ariel, I think her team. I think Ariel's in Ukraine. I'm praying for their safety. I'm praying for everyone's safety over there. Just be safe. God's got us, and I do believe that he will get us through this storm. So with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Y'all take it easy. Happy Friday. Hope y'all ready for the weekend. Stay safe. I will see y'all episode 4. Stay out.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.